Om Namo Narayana. Very warm welcome to Sadhana on S3. I am your host Alisha Gayaprasad, here to keep you company for the next half an hour. To get the show on the road today, Sadhana travels around the country to bring to you significant happenings within the Hindu faith. We visit Escort and Ladysmith as we pick up on the Ramakrishna Center of the Midlands region. Stopping for a stretch, you can retreat yourself with yoga techniques by Dr. Ansia Mudli. With load shedding affecting so many of us, we see how the sun plays an important role in both spirituality and science. To conclude, stick to your seats as we showcase a wonderful musical piece. Sri Ramakrishna expresses, the goal of human life is the realization of the ultimate reality, which alone can give man supreme fulfillment and everlasting peace. This is the essence of all religions. Driving through the misty and icy climate of Escort and Ladysmith, Sadhana became familiar with how the Ramakrishna Center of South Africa has adapted to the virtual world with online Satsangh, where devotees have adjusted to the new normal and still continue the initiatives of the organization.
The Ladysmith Sub-Center is a branch center of the Ramakrishna Center of South Africa, which is affiliated to the Ramakrishna Mission, Belur Math, West Bengal, India. Our spiritual head and president is revered Swami Sumanasanandaji Maharaj, who is based in Durban. One has to reflect at the backdrop of which the pandemic struck the world. It came with a lot of uncertainty, and with immediate effect, we were all placed into strict isolation. So this put this center staring at a blank canvas of its spiritual journey. We are a rather busy center with activities from Monday to Friday on a regular basis, not including the fasts and festivals that we observe. And suddenly, we were isolated. There was no communication between the members of the center, the devotees, and absolutely no connection with the community. And this was something we had to look at closely. We were not prepared to stand and look at a blank canvas. Some of us got together and gave it some thought and decided that in keeping with Swami Vivekananda's teachings of forward thinking, proactive, and think out of the box, we had to make a plan. So we took the opportunity and started the digital programs.
The pandemic presented a major challenge to many of the organizations in Ladysmith who were not so technically inclined before the lockdown. However, we had to resort to other means in order to maintain the spiritual connection between our devotees and individuals in Ladysmith and beyond.
At the beginning of the decision to go online and digital and on the virtual platform, we engaged with revered Swami Sumanasanandaji Maharaj, our president, and discussed the options. Maharaj was very enthusiastic and immediately gave us the go-ahead. To date back, the first podcast was on the 25th of March, which was the first day of Ramayan week in 2020. And that podcast was sent to us by revered Swamiji himself.
I think as a youth, we are naturally more inclined to technology, the use of our smartphones. We're often seen on Facebook and other social media. And that was one of the reasons why we chose Facebook Live, just because more youth could access it. And it's actually been greatly successful, as more than 60% of our devotees who join our programs are under the age of 35. So I think it was a natural fit and a nice way of moving and bringing spirituality and satsang into our youth of today. We seeked platforms that would involve as many individuals as possible. So that includes our young members of the community who have access to smartphones and internet, all the way to those who have limited data, and even extended to those who do not have data at all. So that was the impetus behind choosing a digital platform for our center, as well as we wanted something that would be easy to transition into, both for our members and for devotees.
Although Maharaj used to visit the centers regularly on a monthly basis, we could now be online, real-time, collectively, all devotees that were on the program were connecting at the same time with the revered Maharaj. And that's what made it different from observing a satsang via another platform, for example, YouTube, because we all felt that divine connection. So henceforth, the Tuesday afternoons became a rush home from work, get prepared for satsang. All devotees would gather in their shrines and we would commence. So the atmosphere from the shrine, that is the ashrama here, was now taken directly into your home, so you could feel that spiritual nature of yourself and your inherent divinity, and you could feel the connection that other devotees had with the holy trio.
We have fortunately reached over 250,000 devotees across, believe it or not, all continents of the world, including countries such as Brazil, Qatar, Canada, Australia, and many others. I think as a youth of today, the Ramakrishna Center appeals to us because it's founded on the principles of Swami Vivekananda, who is so inspirational to youth. And this not only applies in South Africa, but around the world.
We are founded on the principle of the divinity of man in all. And if we see the spiritual nature as our inherent being, as I've mentioned before, at the time of such a calamity, it's this spiritual nature that offers pragmatic solutions to the current problem. And if we see God everywhere and believe in that, then the uncertainty and scariness and fear of this pandemic will not affect us. Escort Satsangh Group is an integral part of the Northern KwaZulu-Natal sub-centers and Satsang groups. So we have the Escort Satsang Group, the Newcastle Sub-Center, the Dundee Sub-Center, the Glencoe Satsang Group. With Escort Satsang Group, we have one of our devotees, Mr. Rajesh Premchand, who is a keen musician, and he, from the day of commencement, together with our own devotees in Ladysmith, were the first to do the inaugural satsang with their singing and bhajans and musical instruments.
Well, thanks to technology, we are doing what we're doing today. Due to the fact of COVID-19, we are not going to mandirs. However, we are in the comfort of our own homes. We are having satsangs via Zoom, the platform. All I do is I log into the Zoom platform with our code, and then we have a program to follow. I would either start off by doing the opening prayer and the bhajan, or I may somewhere along the line speak after Maharaj's talk, discourse, or the closing as well. So we'll all link to the system, and whenever it's our turn, we just perform. The bhajan I'm going to sing today is Ramakrishna Sharanam, is a dedication to Guru, Shri Ramakrishna, Holy Master, in praise of him. Ramakrishna Sharanam, Prabhu Kripa Hi Kevalam, Sharanye. Basically, a Guru is your thread to God. He is the one that takes you to God. Very important in everybody's life that you must have a Guru in order to reach God. I grew up in the center for many years. I became a musician. I was playing tabla, and as time went by, I started taking part in the rallies, the cultural festivals in KwaZulu-Natal, and then I've got more experience in my music playing and more familiar with all the people of the center, all the devotees, the swamis, the maharajas, and And until came a stage where I was nominated as the chairman of the center, and I took over, like now 25 years or so, I'm the chairman of the Escort playing tabla. And then as I moved on, I started to harmonium and I started singing. I also belonged to a local band, playing different kinds of music, which also gave me more experience. And here I am today with my son. He's a tabla player, accomplished tabla player, and he accompanies me to all my satsangs. And I think we have a good team going. My mom also sings, my daughters play manjira, my wife also sings, so we have a good family musical background.